Welcome in, everybody, to Betting Pros. It's time to place your bets. It is me, Joe Pisapia. It's Friday. You know what that means. It's time to talk props with, of course, Andrew Erickson, the prop prophet, Mr. Andrew Underson himself, and our good friend, the Welsh, is here. And Welsh and Bogman are going to join us every Thursday and Friday rest of season for our shows at Betting Pros. How exciting is that? It's great to have the boys here hanging out with us, talking betting the rest of the NFL season. We got a whole lot of fun things going on. It's not just NFL here on Betting Pros. No. We've also got the NBA show going every Wednesday, every Friday, 11 a.m. Eastern. Matt Modi with the fast break bets. They're so fast. Can't even see them coming sometimes. But you should at least set those notifications so you don't miss them. So again, Wednesdays, Fridays, Matt's taking you through the NBA slate because we are full service here at Betting Pros, but you're here for football. And that's what we're going to talk about today. The Week 13 prop bets are upon us. And last night, Andrew Erickson, last night, Joe Stradamus showed up on the Thursday night football game. Joe Stradamus was there. There were no stats to back me up. There's nothing that you could have said that probably would have supported any of this. It was just gut instinct that the Seattle Seahawks would somehow cover the 9.5, but the Cowboys would still win, and you should bet those two things together. And if you did, you made a lot of money. Erickson, with all the research you do, how much does gut instinct go into some of your bets at the end of the day?
I mean, most of the time, my gut instinct just tells me to avoid certain games. There will be numbers that say clearly you should just bet on this team, but for the other factors that you kind of know in the back of your mind, it's like, well, you know, the numbers all say this, but at the end of the day, like, it's still this team versus this team, and there's this one factor that I just can't get over, and it's hard to capture it in a model or in a number. But it's like, you know, so I'm just going to shy away, or I'm not going to look towards that. So that's kind of what my perception is with that gut feeling. And occasionally, sometimes it'll drive me if I'm like really 50-50 on something. But I feel like there's some value, then I will go with my gut.
Joe is about to go. So, Andrew, how does it feel to do all the work that you do, and I take a calculated guess and am so much smarter and better at this moment?
It's that little bit of, I know they had a full week. I get all that stuff. Everybody had a full week. It wasn't a normal Thursday night football game, which, by the way, how fun was it to watch two teams on full rest play on Thursday night? It was really good. Yeah. NFL, maybe you should take a look at that. Just saying, maybe a little bit. But on top of that, you could smell the Cowboys looking ahead to the Eagles. You could just sense it. Seattle had no business being in that game going into what you've seen recently. And sometimes that's
college
just the NFL.
Football, though. But it's not college football, though. There's not you don't have big
Cowboys,
look-ahead spots.
Though. The Cowboys are classic for doing this kind of stuff. But, well, speaking of guts, all the guts are going to be on the line this Sunday. Your 49ers are taking on the Philadelphia Eagles. We may or may not touch on that game here in some of the prop bets, but I have been on the soapbox. I have been pounding the table for the Eagles every week here for the last, month and change. They're 10-1. They're underdogs. It's the first time a 10-1 team has been an underdog at home, by the way, since, 1885. And now all of a sudden we get to see the real Brock Purdy. So, Welsh, you are Mr. 49er. You are Mr. Sonoma Valley. You are Mr. Wine and Cheese 49er fan. You tell me, does Brock Purdy have the goods to go in to Philadelphia and actually come out with a big-time victory for your 49ers? What do you think?
Yeah, by the way, Joe's been full heel. We talked about this off air. I'm like, listen, brother, I've heard you walking around the streets on Fantasy Pros and Betting Pros talking all this smack.
Show up in the arena on Friday, Welsh, and we'll talk about this game. I'll be waiting for you.
What you going to do when the Niners come into Philly and snap one off on you, brother? It's been pretty intense you've had. But listen, I'll tell you this. I don't think Brock Purdy has to prove anything at this point. I think he has proven what needs to be done. Guess what does happen? Good teams beat good teams. I am shocked that the 49ers are a 3-point favorite on the road in Philly with how good Philly has been as well. I think that's a shocking number. But to kind of hammer home, hey, this is Brock Purdy's opportunity. Brock Purdy has gone up against some good defenses. And by the way, I'm not sure Philly is exactly one of those. Over the last month, they have given up, from a fantasy points perspective, they've given up the most fantasy points over the last month to quarterbacks. And Brock Purdy has all the weapons. They've got their offensive line. Trent Williams is out there, one of the most important things. They lost Hufanga, but their defense is on point. This is going to be a problem because running quarterbacks for ages have given the 49ers fits. If they decide to spy, I think that's a good thing. This game could go either way, but in my mind, Brock Purdy has already proven he is an upper-tiered quarterback. This isn't about him winning in Philly. This is about when the 49ers are on point, you're not beating them. They have proven that this year. When they are effective, they will not be beat. So as long as that happens, the 49ers win this game. But if Philly wins, it's not going to be a shock there, brother.
No, well, we shall see. I know Brock Purdy, look at the schedule, the Rams and the Giants and the Arizona Cardinals. When he beat the Bucks and the Seattle Seahawks. Such great teams. I'm so excited to see him after beating all those great teams, how it's going to. I have gone full heel. I am so into this. And
this is going to be
Brock
McCaffrey.
Purdy. I like the story. I don't know why I'm like this. It's just fun.
This is not going to be about Brock Purdy. This is going to be about the offensive line. I can tell you that right now. This will be 100% about the offensive line. The Eagles have given up 100 yards rushing once this year. And you're going to come in with one of the better offensive lines and the best running back in the NFL and one of the best twitch players in Debo, which they can not only throw short passes, but they can do end arounds. If they utilize that stuff and they can run, I'll tell you this right now. If they are effectively running, Eagles are done because you can pass all over the Eagles all day long.
Keep an eye on Fletcher Cox today,
stopped,
practice report.
We'll see. Yeah, exactly. You talked to Dr. Chow about that. Listen to the injury report.
Yeah, that's right. Nice plug. All right, let's get to the props.
How come you didn't mention that the 49ers played the Dallas Cowboys and Jaguars either?
Because at the time, the Dallas Cowboys were terrible when they played them.
They played those teams most recently, too. That's kind of weird that you
wait a minute. What is this recent stuff? They played
They played the Jaguars in Week 10.
The Jaguars are mid.
They played the Rams.
Erickson,
they played the Cardinals.
Jaguars are
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
The Jaguars are mid.
Can you see these cherries that I'm picking? It's cherry picking season. Whee!
The Jaguars are mid. They barely escaped Houston with a W.
Jaguars are just the best team against the spread this year.
The Jaguars are mid. Well, it's easy when you're playing other teams in the AFC South to be good against the spread. Oh, stop with the Jaguars.
No,
please.
You're rolling. Shut your mouth, Joe Pisapia. Come on.
I see this. Dallas. They crushed Dallas.
Dallas
they
almost
did
just
crush
lost to Seattle,
Dallas,
though, Erickson.
and that I'll give. They did crush Dallas.
Okay,
I will give you the
they
Dallas.
Beaten somebody good.
That's fine, but that was in week 5 too. Before they figured out they should throw the football.
We need like how if you guys all watch.
I guess we should get
the
the props at some point.
We probably should,
fun.
but Betting Pros does a great job of giving away awesome stuff. I thoroughly believe this game we should give away a jersey from the winning team of the Eagles and 49ers next week. I'm just putting that out
like a really
ethers.
bad jersey. Like we gave that jersey. We got to find like
Fletcher Cox or
Fletcher Cox is a good jersey, actually. No, we got to go deeper than that. We'll
Dre
come
Greenlaw.
up with a name. Come up with a name on the end. All right, let's go to you, Erickson, because you've been quiet here, letting Welsh and myself argue. Why don't you kick things off for us with the prop bets for Week 13?
Do it, brother.
Going to the Tennessee Titans game, going to start with Will Levis under 19.5 completions. So I love the Titans this week, but I don't think it's going to be because of Will Levis that they win. I think it's because of Derrick Henry. You look at the Colts defense. 5 of the 10 quarterbacks they have faced this year have not gone over their completions prop because the Colts defense is bad at giving up explosive plays, but they don't give up like dunk and dime type of passes where it's easy attempts. It's usually big plays that they give up on defense. And that's why that's kind of what they do on their defensive side of the ball. So when you look at what the quarterbacks have done with pass completions, look, Will Levis has 19 pass completions only once in his 5 games as a starter. And that came against the Falcons. And that was his best game. He also attempted 39 passes in that game. What is his passing attempts prop this week? 31.5. So he's not going to attempt enough passes in this game to get anywhere near the completions that the books have him at 19.5 when he hasn't really even hit that number recently at all. So for me, the way that this matchup shapes up is a lot of Derrick Henry. They're playing at home. They're going to run the football. And Will Levis, if he's going to be delivering pass plays, it's going to be more of the splash down the field variety and not dink and dunk to get him over 19.5. So I'm going to go under on Will Levis's completions.
Now, Welsh, you've got a Will Levis prop as well. What is it this week?
Yeah, I went to the sheet first, and I was so pleasantly surprised when I saw Erickson join me in this. We are same game parlaying you guys, by the way, because you compare these two. Give me Will Levis over 1 interception. It's minus 110 for him to throw a pick. Levis has not thrown a pick in 2 straight games. The 2 teams that he's gone up against were the Panthers and the Jags, who have combined for 0 interceptions over the last month. 0. Levis had a pick in each of his previous games prior to that. And the Colts, they've got 6 interceptions over the last month, which is 3rd best in the NFL. And guess what? Erickson laid it out perfectly. When they are going deep, best opportunity for a pick to be thrown. Give me Will Levis throwing a pick on top of, I completely agree with Erickson on the completion or the pass attempts. I might same game parlay that bad boy. So Will Levis picking it up.
All right, Erickson, pick us up for another pick for Week 13 prop department.
I no longer bet on Patriots sides and totals because I can't bring myself to just bet the under and just like be miserable watching the game. So I'm strictly sticking to Rhamondre Stevenson props. Like that's the only thing I'm betting anymore when it comes to the Patriots. So I'm going to Rhamondre Stevenson over 3.5 receptions. You get this at plus money on DraftKings plus 110 because the Chargers are one of these teams that just gets absolutely decimated by running backs in the passing game. Allowing the 2nd most targets, 3rd most receptions, 2 running backs at 6.4 this season. I think it should really be this simple. The Patriots have no weapons on offense except for Rhamondre. It doesn't look like Demario Douglas is going to play. That's going to open more targets for Rhamondre Stevenson as their best player. They've been featuring him more and more over the last couple of weeks because what else are they supposed to do on offense? And if you look at last week, again, Bill Belichick hasn't named a starter yet, even though Bailey Zappi has passing yards props that you can bet. So, you know, hunch says it's probably going to be Bailey Zappi that starts in this game. Maybe he doesn't finish. I don't know. I don't care.
I'm going to say either way, you take the under on everybody.
When Zappi played last year, his 4 games that he played the most snaps, Rhamondre Stevenson averaged 4.5 catches per game. So there is a chemistry between those two players that, hey, if Zappi's in trouble, doesn't trust his receivers, he's going to check the ball down to Rhamondre. He also went over the 3.5 receptions in 3 of those 4 games. He had 1 game with 8 catches. So I think Rhamondre Stevenson, this is how I'm going to enjoy this game. Going to be like, Rhamondre, get the catches, and then I'm going to turn the TV off. Move on.
I haven't had a game all year that I wanted to bet so badly that I can't bring myself to bet than this one. Because I know that the Chargers on a 1 o'clock game where they have to go across the country is going to be a hot mess.
This is the gut thing I was telling you about, right? Like everything says bet Chargers.
Everything says bet Chargers, and that's it. Like going against the Bill Belichick team that's completely imploded. They don't even know who the quarterback is. I mean, I can't, and I'm having discipline. Welsh, I haven't done it yet, and I don't think I'm going to. This is new me. New year, new me kind of thing. Joey P from like 2 years ago would have been all over this game and said, nope, I'm still going to do it anyway. Nope. Got to have the discipline. Who do you have interest in the prop department this week? Welsh, who's number 2 for you this week?
Well, if I'm here with my dear friend Andrew Erickson, I have to represent Andrew Erickson. I have to drop one, and I came up with one, and I'm going with Terry McLaurin. His receiving yards under at 57.5. McLaurin hasn't reached this total for 3 straight weeks, and I know that might jump out to people because it's the Dolphins and Sam Howell and getting from behind. Well, that hasn't mattered for 3 weeks as well. He's got a below average wide receiver cornerback rating according to PFF. It's under 50. And some of those projections have him at 50 total yards. 3 of the last 5 matchups for the Dolphins, the number 1 wide receiver did not reach this total. The 2 instances that they did was A.J. Brown and Devontae Adams. Side note, the number 2 still did not hit that number in those as well. So Terry McLaurin, they're spreading the ball around. He has just not been a big force. And that seems like it's not a ginormous number, but 57.5, that was enough for me to smack the under. So that's my underplay of the week.
All right. Don't forget, everybody, make sure you're placing all your wagers through BettingPros app because that's how you get the best lines, sync all your sports books. And if you download right now and you haven't, download the BettingPros app, which, again, I don't know why you're making these bad decisions. Make good decisions. Download the app. And if you have iOS, you get 3 free days of premium to check out exactly how things could be for you if you are a premium subscriber. And if that's not good enough, you could also comment below on this video. And if you subscribe to the channel and you like this video, you subscribe, you ring the bell, you might win a 1-year free premium upgrade to the best betting tools on the planet. Start betting smarter, not harder with us here at Betting Pros. Again, subscribe, drop a comment, download the app. Have some fun. Erickson, good stuff there for you. Let's go back again to you for another pick here. And this one is, ironically, a Miles Sanders one. And wouldn't you know it? Seems like an under. Can we get a ruling too? I've been calling you Anderson because I like when he says, all unders, son. Like, I kind of like that. But you said Undrickson. Well,
I call him Andrew Erickson.
Andrew Erickson. I like the under son. What do you like better, Andrew?
I just like Andrew. I like Erickson.
No,
I like
not
Andrew,
acceptable.
I like Erickson.
No.
Like, I like
Who
being me.
prefer.
No,
Yeah.
I just prefer being right, honestly, and that's what happens with Andrew. Okay? So.
Wow. All right. Why don't you go be right? Tell us about this
Scoreboard
next
for
one.
Erickson.
Jeez.
So this one is my stone cold lock of the week. Miles Sanders under 8.5 rushing attempts, because anytime I can find good props to bet unders on bad running backs and bad players in general, or non-effective players, I'm going to take them. So Miles Sanders, when you look at why he was brought into Carolina, he was brought in with the last head coach, like with Frank Reich, with Josh McCown, with Deuce Staley. Those guys are all gone. Like, so what is Miles Sanders doing on this team anymore? Like, does he even have a role on the offense? Like, we're already seeing Chuba Hubbard has kind of already taken over as the starting running back. So you now have Miles Sanders operating as the RB2, maybe, but now he has who's in his corner saying like, hey, we got to get Miles Sanders the ball more. Like, that doesn't happen. Like, that doesn't exist. So, and when we look at the current play caller, Thomas Brown, so he called plays from weeks 8 through 10 in those games. Miles Sanders had the carrying totals of the following: 2, 6, and 2. Honestly, the only way I see that this prop doesn't cash is if Miles Sanders is a healthy scratch.
Okay. I like it. I like it a lot. All right, back to you, Welsh. Give us another pick for week 13. You've got an RB lined up for this one.
I've got an RB, but I'm playing an alt line this week. Ooh. And this is one of those guys. I think I have like one or two of these every single year where it's just like, you're not always going to be right, but if you bet it throughout the entire year, you're going to make money. You haven't made money 4 of the last 5 weeks, but that is altering. It is Bijan Robinson receiving yards. It is always in play. It is always projected 25 or higher. It started early in the year. It moved into the 27, 28 range. Then he had this little downtick where he wasn't getting the ball in the passing game. That changed last week. So Bijan missed 4 straight weeks with this, but then hit this past week. He hit this prop. This number, by the way, his number is 17.5. I'm alt-lining this to plus 25, and I'm getting plus 135 on this. He hit this number on 1 catch last week on the 26-yarder. And here's a funny thing with this plus 25. Every game that Bijan Robinson has hit his receiving yard prop, which is 6 times this year, he has gone over 25. So if he hits it, this is cashing. That is what this historically has said this entire season. It's 17.5 if you want to play the normal number. I want extra juice, so I'm playing that alt line because it always hits when he does. And the Jets, this is where you can do that. They can throw the ball with Bijan, and I believe they average around 40 yards receiving to running back. So give me Bijan Robinson alt receiving yards plus 25 at 135.
Absolutely love it. And look, the secret to winning this football game is giving the ball to Bijan Robinson and getting out of the way. I mean, that's it. Don't make Desmond Ridder do more than he has to. Please, for the love of God, don't make him do that. Please, for the children. Yeah. For the sake of the children. It's the holidays. Just stop. All right, let's get to another one. Number 4 on your list, Andrew Erickson. What do you have for the people?
Sunday Night Football, Christian Watson under 3.5 receptions. Guys, he has gone over this number one time all year, and he did it last week. So again, it's like, oh, he's finally turned the corner. This is great. Yeah, it was against the Lions. So no, like Christian Watson's not going to go over 3.5 receptions. He could get 100 yards. That could totally happen. It's not going to be over
2 catches.
It's not going to be on 3.5 receptions. It could be on 2 catches. So I just think that the number here is way too high for him having one game again with 4+ catches, and the matchup is brutal. KC's allowing the league's second lowest completion rate to wide receivers at 55%. 7th fewest catches overall. Like, it's a much tougher matchup. So even if Watson is seeing 6-7 targets, he's seeing targets that are down the field, which are least likely to be completed anyway. So the receptions number, I just think that is a really sharp bet to make on Sunday night because, yeah, he could have a big game, but it may only come on 2 or 3 catches because he's not a volume receiver. And we've seen Jordan Love historically every single week. I do it. I write up the forecast. Every guy gets 4 or 5 targets. Every single week it's 4 or 5 targets. No, he doesn't hone in on one guy. So if the matchup's not there for Christian Watson, which I don't think it will be against the Chiefs, like, he's not going to get peppered with targets. So taking the under on Watson.
I'd also throw in, because Jaden Reed, they want the ball in his hands.
Sure do.
Pay attention to his rushing yard prop. I played it, I think it was last week. I got the alt line plus money at 3.5 rushing yards, which he crushed. And then it opened up pregame to minus money at 3.5. Just see if that one, once they get like a health out there, see what that number looks like. That would be one I would bet. It's just not live, and it probably won't be live close till. But if it's under 5, I'm playing that because to that point, they spread the ball around, but they want the ball in Jaden Reed's hands, and he's their little mini Devo.
And Erickson is not buying the Christian Watson new trend. No Watson new trend at all. Not happening. Just it's a one-off. All right, let's get to number 4 on your list. Welsh, what do you have for week 13?
These next two are just like my favorites. I'm going with Pat Freiermuth, receiving yards. It's 32.5 last week with Matt Canada gone, 11 targets. He had 9 catches, which was beautiful. As far as the tight end matchup goes, if you look over on PFF, he is up against the worst graded cover linebacker in the league in Donovan Woods, according to PFF, and given the second best matchup advantage overall. Cardinals are averaging 37 yards to tight ends right now, and 4 of the last 6 matchups the tight end has beat this. The other 2 were 31 yards and 32 yards. Freiermuth is going to be open. He is a new focal point of the offense, and it doesn't matter which quarterback is there. I play the receiving receptions as well. I think it might be plus money at 3.5, but this is a low receiving yard total, and this is an amazing matchup against tight ends against this defense.
All right, so here's a trend that Welsh is buying. Pat Freiermuth's triumphant return to the Steelers offense. All right, number 5 on your list, Andrew Erickson for week 13.
For what it's worth, I had a dream last night. Kenny Pickett went absolutely nuclear in this game, so I like.
I think it's because you spent. I think it's because we spent all that time talking about Kenny Pickett yesterday on the show, on the FP show. You, me, and Debro. I think that's pretty much what it was. There was a lot of Kenny Pickett discussion there.
I'm just doing all the Kenny Pickett overs and all of his receivers because they're all baked in that Matt Canada's the coach still. When he's not, he's gone. All right, Monday Night Football. Evan Engram over 4.5 receptions. See, I can get in some overaction here.
There we go.
I can have some fun. Plus money, plus 105. Evan Engram last week had 5 catches, 8 targets, 22% target share, led the team. Look, he's steady as they come. He doesn't get a lot of red zone targets, even though Trevor Lawrence did miss him wide open in the end zone last week. More to come with that. But great matchup this week against the Bengals. Again, we just saw what Pat Freiermuth did to the Cincinnati Bengals defense. Absolutely shredded them, over 100 yards. I like the receptions prop because it's plus money. Evan Engram has 4 catches at least in every single game he's played this year. His prop is at 4.5. He's only been under that number in 3 games. Hit the over 8 of 11, and a lot of those games where he didn't hit over 4.5 receptions were in tougher matchups. Again, this is a great matchup for the tight end position. They're trying to get Evan Engram the ball, especially more around the red zone. So I love him on Monday night to go over 4.5 catches.
All right, before we get to our anytime touchdown calls in just a second, Welsh, we've got one more prop for week 13, and it involves the Tampa Bay running back Rachaad White.
Yes, I love me some Rachaad White. Projections putting him around 68 yards, 16 carries. The number is 62.5 going up against the Panthers. 8 of 12 weeks, the number 1 running back has hit this total against Panthers. Only one of the 3 matchups it didn't hit was the running back having 12 carries or less. Or I'm sorry, the 3 that they did not hit, 2 of those 3, those running backs only had 12 carries in that game. So what this is saying is if the running back has 15 or more carries, this is hitting. He is projected at 16. He has had 20 over the last 2. White is a lock to hit this one against the Panthers. It literally doesn't hit unless there isn't volume given to the running back, and he is the force of this. I don't care if this number drags up a little bit. Give me Rachaad White, rushing yards, 62.5 over. I might even alt it and see what it looks like at 80 over. Love me some Rachaad White.
And guys, gals out there listening to the show, use the prop bet cheat sheet over on Betting Pros. Use the tools that we have here because it shows you these projections that we've been talking about against the lines and then the best place you're going to get the best number at the best house. So literally it is handing you the cheat codes for all of these prop bets. So outside of listening to the show, make sure you're going on using the app, go to the prop bet cheat sheet, the prop bet analyzer, take a look at all of those amazing tools. You can go game by game, prop by prop, whatever floats your boat. But please go check it out because it is an absolute banger of a tool. All right, let's get to the anytime touchdown calls. Erickson, I know you've been harping all week about Texans tight ends. Dalton Schultz is not going to play. So what does that mean?
It's Brevin Jordan time. First it was Michael Jordan, but now it's Brevin Jordan time.
Yes,
so,
clearly.
Broncos are one of the worst defenses in the NFL against tight ends. Dead last in fantasy points per game to the position, first in yards allowed to the position, first in touchdowns allowed to the position. So Brevin Jordan is the next man up and tight end. He played nearly 50% of the snaps last week while splitting time with Dalton Schultz, who was dealing with a hamstring injury that's going to knock him out of the next game. but I don't think that means that we're not going to see the production, because I don't think Dalton Schultz is like some special, oh, he's so great that he's going to make the production. No, it's a result of being attached to CJ Stroud. Like, that's what you want. And if Brevin Jordan is out there playing 75% of the snaps, specifically playing all the snaps in the red zone as he did last week, I think he's going to find the end zone. And right now, at least when I looked at it earlier, it was plus 380 for an anytime touchdown for Brevin Jordan. We know CJ Stroud's going to throw 3, probably. So I like Brevin Jordan at some longer odds.
I would say also in DFS, you should be paying attention to that too, because he is going to be one of those min salary kind of guys floating out there. He's going to be very cheap. Certainly something to look. Since Schultz this morning got ruled out for this weekend,
is it official? He's ruled out.
I just saw it come across. Okay. It said he is not going to play. That's what I just saw.
I just saw he had 2 DNPs, and I wasn't sure if it was.
I just saw that he was not expected to play. That's what I just saw. Now again, make sure you stay on top of things with my playbook, so you know exactly what's going on. I wanted to see if that number might have moved potentially with that information. Looking right now over on FanDuel, Brevin Jordan plus 360. So you're still in a good spot there. All right, let's go to you, Welsh. Call a touchdown, and there might be a theme developing here for your picks this week.
Well, and I hit mine the last time I was on the show, and there is a theme. We're tight ending it, and I'm going to be going right back to Pat Freiermuth. Give me anytime touchdown. His anytime touchdown, by the way, is plus 270. That's a great number for this matchup, especially up against the Cardinals, who have given up the most touchdowns to tight ends over the last month. Obviously, Erickson, you picked on the season total. Over the last month, the Cardinals are getting torched. We also have, this is a very important analytical stat here, Erickson dreamed about this. Erickson dreamed about Pickett blowing this team up, and Freiermuth is the best odds you're going to get of any of these, and he was one of the top targeted players last week in this new Matt Canada-less offense. So the matchup speaks for it. The touchdown defensively against the Cardinals speak for it. Pat Freiermuth, that almost 3-1, you'll probably end up getting it at 2.5-1, is a steal of a bet. So yes, we are tight end anytime touchdowning it this week.
Okay, so Freiermuth gets to the end zone. Brevin Jordan gets to the end zone. You heard it here. Erickson likes the under on the 19.5 completions for Will Levis, the over on 3.5 receptions for Stevenson, the under 8.5 rushing attempts for Miles Sanders. Christian Watson, no trend here, not with Andrew Erickson, under 3.5 receptions. Evan Engram over 4.5 receptions. Welsh is also in on Levis with the interception over at the 0.5 mark. Terry McLaurin receiving yards under 57.5. Bijan, the alternate receiving yards at plus 25 at plus 135. Pat Freiermuth, not only to get that touchdown, but also over on the receiving yards of 32.5, and Rachaad White over the 62.5. As long as he gets those 15 carries, that certainly looks good. All right, it's go time. I'm going to close out strong. Erickson, give me the score and outcome of the Eagles-San Francisco 49er game.
All right, so I bet the over on the game, so I got to make sure the points add up to over 47 points. Yeah. So let's go with so San Francisco pretty much scores 30 points against everybody. So let's say let's go San Francisco 30, Philadelphia 20.
Okay, Philadelphia 20. All right, there you go. So obviously 49ers. Welsh, this is prediction time. Go ahead, make it count.
All right, we're gonna go 23-27 San Francisco.
Okay. All right.
I mean, 33-27. My brain. 33-27 San Francisco. 33-27 San Francisco.
All right. I am going to go, let's see. Let's make it 28-20 Philadelphia. That's right. The Eagles carry the day. And hopefully Brock Purdy, I like an underdog story. I'm a Tom Brady fan. I love the guys who get picked late who have great NFL careers. I just want to see it happen. And if it happens,
underdogs, Joe. That's why.
If I had a battery, I would throw it at you right now.
49ers aren't underdogs.
That's true, but he's still an underdog story. I still think of him in that way.
Not to Vegas. Vegas, hey, he's proven. He's favored.
I wonder how the Eagles feel about that line.
I wonder how the 49ers feel that they didn't get a fair shot at the Eagles last year.
A fair shot? They walked in, didn't they? And then
their quarterback broke his elbow.
They walked out on a stretcher. You'd think I'm an Eagles fan the way I'm teasing this. But Welsh, be careful when you leave the studio today. There might be a metal chair right to the back. You never know what's going to happen.
Oh my God.
This has been so much fun, guys. Again, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Make sure you're going to the bettingpros.com/NFL contest to make all your picks count. There's still weekly prizes and monthly prizes to be won. And subscribe to the Betting Pros YouTube channel so you know every time a piece of content drops here. If you comment below, you just might win a 1-year free premium upgrade to the best betting tools on the planet. That'll do it for us, but the story of the game goes on. For Andrew Erickson and the Welsh, I'm Joey P. and we'll see you next time, kids.